In this tutorial for Team Yankee, I'm going to go over the shooting sequence and how you read the weapon characteristics. The shooting sequence can be found on page 38 of your rule book, and they're right here. You can also go into the back, which is like your cheat sheet, and they're right down here. Also, if you go to teamyankee.com, you can go to and look for downloads, and they have a download of that cheat sheet right here. And I copied it, double-sided printed it, and got it laminated because I use this all the time, especially this, while I'm playing a game. And this way it's very durable. I don't have to print it off anymore. So the sequence you'll go through is you'll check range, check line of sight, declare who you're going to shoot, rotate to face that target, roll the hit, assign the hits, and then they get to roll their saves. And there may be some firepower tests and stuff like that involved. But that's basically the sequence you'll go through when you're doing your shooting. And I'm going to go over each of these in separate kind of tutorials. So how do you know what you're, like, if you have infantry or a tank, how do you know what they can shoot? And that's where your cards come into play. So let's look at this BMP2 Motor Rifle Company. And I see, and I kind of separated them out by colors. I see gray, white, gray, white. And these are different types of teams. So we have an AK-74 assault rifle team or RPG-10 anti-tank. And that's basically this team here. It's on a medium-sized base. And if they have two weapons listed like this, or they could shoot that weapon, or they could shoot that one. They can't. This team cannot shoot both of them at the same time. So this says that if they use the AK-74, they could shoot 8 inches. So you would take your tape measure, and any direction around them from their base, they could shoot out 8 inches. So if the target's within that range, they can shoot it. They have 3 dice they're going to roll. If they did not move, that's what the halted means. Moving means, did they move any, except for like a blitz move, a special maneuver. Did they start there and they moved up here? Then you go to the moving rate of fire, which will change for some piece of equipment. They have an anti-tank of 1. The bigger the number, the better you have of penetrating tanks and vehicles and knocking them out. 5+ firepower, and always, always read your notes on the weapons. Like this one says pin rate of fire of 1. Or they could shoot their RPG-18 anti-tank. And I'm not going to go over each of these weapons going through this on each of them. I'm just kind of giving demonstration with this one. But this one also go 8 inches. They only get 1 shot. So if they shoot this weapon instead of that one, they only get 1 die, whether moving or not. But this one has an anti-tank of 14. So this one could take out vehicles. 5+ firepower, and we have heat and slow firing. And those special rules for that weapon. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is, say they're in the same unit and they want to shoot, this team can decide they want to shoot the AK-74. This team can decide they want to shoot the RPG-18. However, this team cannot decide they're going to shoot both. So that's, each team can decide what they want to shoot, but they can only shoot that one weapon. Now the next one down, they only have 1 choice, and this is that smaller base, so you can see the difference there. And they can only shoot the RPG-7, and here's their ratings and their special notes. I do not have a light machine gun team put together, but it's on a large base, same base as this one. So you can look at kind of the size difference. Maybe if I line them up like this. So small, medium, large base. And they have their stats. Now, if they don't move, they shoot more than if they moved. So that's something to keep in mind. This is a Gremlin anti-aircraft team. So they got their AA missiles there. And their range, how far do they shoot? Now, if they do move, they cannot shoot at all. That's what that dash means. They cannot shoot at vehicles, basically. This dash means they're going to do nothing to vehicles. And also being guided AA, they can't even shoot at vehicles. You'll find out in the special rules in 5+ firepower. So that's how you read the weapons, and that's infantry. Let's look at a tank here. So we got a T-72 tank. Now, the rule with vehicles is they can shoot their main gun. You can see this is one color here, or shoot all of their machine guns. And you can see how that's one color. So do you want to shoot, if you're facing another tank, of course you're going to shoot this. If you're facing infantry teams, such as this, maybe you just want to shoot your machine guns at them. You're going to get more shots and so forth. So vehicles, do you want to shoot the main gun or do you want to shoot the machine gun? That's your choice on things like those tanks. All right, another vehicle to look at is transports. And you can see how these are separate colors. So do they want to shoot their 30 millimeter gun, their AT-5 spandrel, I guess spindle, I don't know how to say it, or their machine gun. So you have to choose which one. Now I will also say, see how this says 8-248? That means that, let's say they want to shoot this tank. If that tank's within 8 inches, it cannot shoot it. It takes time for that missile to arm. So this tank, let's get this back over here, has to be at least 8 inches away for them to be able to shoot it. So again, if we look here, it says 8-48. Next, we're going to look at some AA because there's some special rules with these. Now this is a Shilka. It just has one weapon. It can shoot 20 inches, moving rate of fire and all that stuff. Dedicated AA radar. And again, most of these rules will be on the back. So here's dedicated AA. And here's what radar does. Basically, radar is going to add 12 inches to this range when shooting at aircraft. So if this is shooting at a tank, let's just say it wants to shoot a tank, it can't penetrate. Well, let's do transport. It can do something to this transport. So shooting at the transport, it only has a 20-inch range. However, if it wants to shoot at the hind, we add 12 to that, it would be 32-inch range. So that's the deal with that AA, but that's not the only AA out there. We also have guided AA, which would be right here. As you notice, they have no anti-tank. Now this one can't shoot when it moves, but it has no anti-tank. Because it's guided AA, and this is why you need to read these rules, is it cannot shoot at infantry, it cannot shoot at vehicles, basically. It only can shoot at aircraft. So be careful with some of these, what they can actually shoot. And you notice it doesn't say radar, so this is as far as it can shoot. Okay, artillery also has some special rules. As you can see, it's got this shot, 88. This is artillery. So what that basically means is when it shoots, it's not a direct fire, it's lobbing the shot. And you get to use a template. Now you don't get to use this big one. It's going to be this middle one. So you're going to say, I'm going to pick this target, and you roll, and we'll get over artillery. But that's what, in another video, go over artillery tutorial. But that's what that means is if it's artillery, you're going to be using the template. Or they can do a direct fire shot at 24 inches. So they can do either. They can do that template shot or a direct fire shot. Now with aircraft, there's two different types. There's helicopters and jets. So let's talk about the helicopter. They're going to be very, very similar. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to just bring them both out here because they are pretty much similar in their shooting. Let's look at the hind. As you see, the different colors. So do you want to shoot the missile? And again, it has that minimum range to maximum. Or do you want to do this 12.7? Or do you want to do this salvo? Now what salvo means, let me go back to the artillery. Artillery said artillery. Or some other things may say artillery. And that means you're going to be using the small template. This one said salvo. That means you're going to be using this whole template. So everything underneath that whole template could be hit by that attack. And a lot of them say it's one shot, which means one time per game. Now the frog foot basically is the same thing. Do you want to use that weapon, this one, or the salvo? Depending upon your target, you may want to use this. Maybe it's infantry, or another helicopter, or this one maybe it's a tank, so you want to take the tank out, so you use that. Or there's a whole bunch of men down there that you want to take out, infantry. The salvo might be the best choice for you. So that is how you read those cards. And I'll go into more detail in some of the other tutorials about the ranges and anti-tank and firepower and all that. It's just, this is so you can find the information about what each of these pieces of equipment can do in the game.